lindo está aquí, 8 candelas para mí. Hanukkah linda está aquí, 8 candelas para mí.
Una candelica, 2 candelicas, 3 candelicas, 4 candelicas, 5 candelicas, 6 candelicas, 7 candelicas, 8 candelas para mí.
Muchas fiestas vou fazer com alegrias e prazer. Muchas fiestas vou fazer com alegrias e prazer.
Una candelica, 2 candelicas, 3 candelicas, 4 candelicas, 5 candelicas, 6 candelicas, 7 candelicas, 8 candelas para mí.
Los pastelicos vou comer con almendricas y la miel. Los pastelicos vou comer con almendricas y la miel.
Una candelica, 2 candelicas, 3 candelicas, 4 candelicas, 5 candelicas, 6 candelicas, 7 candelicas, 8 candelas para mí.
It came upon the midnight clear, that glorious song of old, from angels bending near the earth to touch their harps of gold. Peace on the earth to all goodwill, from heaven the news we bring. The world in solemn stillness lay, to hear the angels sing. Still through the cloven skies they come, with peaceful wings unfurled, and still their heavenly music floats o'er all the weary world. Above its sad and lonely plains they bend on hovering wings, and ever o'er its babble sounds the blessed angels sing. But with the woes of war and strife, the world has suffered long. Beneath the angels' strain have rolled 2,000 years of wrong. And we who fight the wars hear not the love song which they bring. Oh, hush the noise of battle strife, and hear the angels sing. For lo, the days are hastening on, by prophet bards foretold, when with the ever-encircling years comes round the age of gold, when peace shall over all the earth its ancient splendors fling, and the whole world give back the song which now the angels sing. Reasons for the season. Reasons for the season. Solstice, Saturnalia, Christmas, Hanukkah, Panchaganapati, Bodhi Day, Yule, Modronek, Shaba Yalda, Kwanzaa, Sol Invictus, Dongshi, Soya. Out of darkness comes the sun every new December. In the name of peace for all to come, Earth's people join together. Reasons for the season. Reasons for the season. Saints come hither, gods and goddesses, Basil, Nicholas, Lucia, Saturn, Amoratsu, Jai Ganesha, Odin, Spider-Woman, Old Ra, new day born of long, cold night, raised in celebration. Bring the coming of the light to the soul of every nation. Reasons for the season. Reasons for the season. La Befana flies the night, Santa Claus his sleigh. Emmanuel beneath star bright, and Israel's lamps aflame. Tapers lit for all to see, voices blend in blessed be. Winter yields to coming spring, and faith is kept forever green. Reasons for the season. Reasons for the season. Reasons for the season. Reasons for the season.
Good morning. Good morning. We're happy that you have joined us this morning. I realize I am not the most familiar face that should be in this place this morning. Reverend Barbara is not with us today. She is tending to her mother in the hospital, and so we want to hold both of them in our thoughts, in our prayers, if you are so inclined, and just keep them in mind and heart. We are happy that you've joined us here for our online worship. We figured out that the last time we were together here in the sanctuary was the 15th of March, and then there were just a small number of us, and we knew we were going to be virtual for a while. We had no idea at that time how long, but we are so thankful to so many people, our board members, so many people that have been willing to participate in worship and climb this Mount Everest of learning curves that we've all been climbing with technology. So we are very, very glad that you've joined us. We are All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church of Shreveport, Louisiana. My name is Susan Caldwell, and I'm the Director of Religious Education here. Our minister is the Reverend Barbara Jarrell. And our service this morning is dedicated to the winter holidays, particularly Hanukkah and Yule or solstice and Christmas. That is what a lot of those are the holidays that our members and friends primarily celebrate. And so I have asked several of them today to join us and talk about their own traditions, their traditions within their family, whether they're families of origin or they're families they've created or families of choice, whatever, or just stories about their holiday celebrations. So I'm really looking forward to, we've got a wonderful group assembled, and I'm looking forward to that. As Unitarian Universalists, we use the word worship going back to its roots in Old English, meaning to elevate and to contemplate matters of worth. Our matters of worth are very different from one to another. We come together around a covenant to support each other on the spiritual journey and to work together for a better world in the here and now. If you are visiting us virtually for the first time, we would ask that you fill out the visitor's log, and I believe Steve Caldwell is putting a link to that in the comments below. You'll see lots of good links in the comments below. And we have our board member, Dawn Subasic, here today to give our announcements. We do not have the fancy transitional sounds that we would usually have because that's part of Reverend Barbara's magic. And so I'm just going to introduce Dawn now, and she'll tell you a little bit about some things that are going on. Dawn?
Good morning, everyone. Good job, Susan, on the last name. That's impressive. Good morning, everybody. I'm so glad to be here to take this chance to remind you from one procrastinator to another that we are still trying to bring in all the pledges that we expect for the coming year, 2021. And you can make your pledge today on the link to Breeze or on the website, the church website. And we appreciate any giving that you could give for this purpose. And also tomorrow is the last day to contribute to the staff bonus. And we want to show our appreciation to the hard work for the people who have made it possible this year to stay close and stay together and just have family at this wonderful time of year. And okay, that's all I've got. Susan?
Thank you so much, Dawn. I appreciate you and all the work that the board has done. Our board president, Bennett Upton, he's taking a little well-deserved break today as well. But I just want to really lift up our board members. They've done a fantastic job through all of this. Want to remind you that we are having a Christmas Eve candlelight service. It will be virtual. It will be right here on Facebook Live. It will not be the same for sure, because that's a wonderful time to be together in the sanctuary, and we will miss that. However, Reverend Barbara and I are working very hard. She especially has been working very hard editing virtual choir videos. So we're going to have the carols, we're going to have the music, we're going to have the candles, and you're actually going to find a little delivery, probably if you are a member, our active members and a number of our friends will be getting a little doorstep delivery of something that will help you participate in the service. And if you are interested in helping drive those around, we could possibly do some later this afternoon if anybody's available to do that. Or Tuesday or Wednesday, I would absolutely be available. So and I know that's harder during the week for some of you, but I know some of you might be off this week too. So if you can help us drive either, and when I say later this afternoon, I would say possibly around 2:30. Somewhere around in there, 2:30, 3 o'clock. Put it in the comments, or you can message me on Facebook. Just let me know one way or the other. And with that, I would like you to relax. And I'm giving myself that same advice right now because this is a bit of a different day for me. But let your shoulders kind of drop from your ears. Take a nice deep breath. And exhale slowly. And let us join in the spirit of worship. As I mentioned before, I've asked this morning a number of our families and individuals to share the traditions of their holidays, or to share a story from a past holiday, which is what I would like to share with you now. And it's a story, it's my father's story as told to his brother. And it's come to me thanks to a treasure trove of letters that were recently, not too long ago, discovered by my cousins. My father, George Kelly, jokingly called himself the only draftee in World War II. Because, there were all those World War II movies about how everybody rushed down to sign up, at the recruiter's office. And he did not rush down to sign up. But when his number came up, he dutifully went and did his duty and was overseas for 4 years. And the day after Christmas in 1944, from somewhere in China, he wrote this letter to his brother Bill. He said, "I went to midnight mass in the Red Cross building on the other side of the airbase and was surprised to learn that a Javanese priest was to say the mass. The priest gave an excellent sermon, speaking excellent English, so I am pleased to report that for the first time in 3 years I was able to understand the Christmas message. Christmas 1942, the sermon was in French, and in 1943 it was in Italian. The Javanese padre told me that he had been a Buddhist until the age of 19, at which time he became a Christian. Later, he became a Catholic and spent many years studying for the priesthood. The good father's parents and one brother are still followers of Buddha, and I was pleased to hear this man say that Buddhist teachings he learned, insofar as a proper mode of life was concerned, in no way conflicted with the teachings of Christ. I wish this priest could deliver this Christmas sermon in some large American church. It would do considerable good, of that I am sure." And so it might not surprise you, having heard that years later, when Steve and I were looking for some common spiritual ground on which to get married, it was this same man, my Catholic father, who would steer us in the direction of the Unitarian Universalists. So I had no idea that particular Christmas story and that particular gentleman would change my life in just any number of ways, and including giving me a faith tradition I love and work that I love. And with that, we will light our chalice, and we will start with Jackson Peck, who will do our children's chalice lighting.
My name is Jackson. We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of the open mind. This is the church of the helping hands. This is the church of the loving heart.
Thank you so much, Jackson. That was a wonderful job. And now we'll light the chalice here in the sanctuary. And in the light of the chalice this morning, we hear the words of Gwen Matthews. As December opens up before us, we welcome in the gift of reflection. We turn toward our holiday celebrations and we search for common threads of meaning. Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights, commemorates a time of miracles when the faith of the Jewish people sustained them to reclaim their holy temple and keep the light of the menorah burning for 8 days. At Yule, or the winter solstice, we're invited to explore duality, cycles, and seasons, and to witness the Holly King being overcome by the Oak King. Yule reminds us that we all partake in the miracle of renewal. Christmas, the celebration of Jesus' humble birth in a manger, offers us to revisit the miracle of birth and the desire to find saviors to heal the scars of humanity. Here in our church, you are just as much of a holiday miracle as the turning of the earth, as persistence and dedication to a faith, as the creation of each new life. We see the love you give to others, to each other. We see the space that you create to hold each other's joys and sorrows, and the generosity and spirit that you entrust to this community. You are the holiday miracle. This community is one of miracle makers. And now we'll ask Dawn to lead us in the unison affirmation.
I invite you to say it with me. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the sacred. Thus do we covenant with each other.
Thank you. And now if you'll join the All Souls Choir or part of the All Souls Choir in singing Gather the Spirit.
Gather the Spirit, harvest abound, our separate lives will kindle one flame. Witness the misery of this hour, our cause in this life.
And now we welcome Rovina Windsor, who is the leader of Amrock Fane, the local grove, the Druid group here in Shreveport, and also a member of All Souls.
Thank you, Susan. As she said, I'm Rovina Windsor. I'm a Druid and a member of All Souls. I was asked to discuss pagan traditions for this time of year. That would take more time than I have today. But let's jump in and see how far we get. First, the name. Yule is the name used by the Germanic and Norse tradition. I'm Celtic, so I call it winter solstice. My foreign languages aren't good enough to share the Roman, Greek, and other various culture names for this period. Regardless of name or time period, a common theme is the returning of the light, which often translates into hopes for the future. A common practice is an all-night vigil to greet the returning sun. Some light a candle each hour during the vigil. Others tend a bonfire throughout the night. Another common theme is gift giving. Last year, our grove took pine cones we found here at the church and attached strings, then filled them with peanut butter and seeds. During ritual, we blessed the cones and hung them in the trees to feed the birds. In normal years, the gathering with friends and with lots of food is popular. What is better than friends and family sharing favorite dishes? Like with so many things, it is more important who we do things with rather than what we do. I believe in allowing the ancient customs to inspire new practice. The Icelanders have done this beautifully. During the long, dark winters, the Norse and the Celts would tell stories of the gods and heroes and great adventures. In modern day Iceland, on Christmas Eve, people exchange gifts of books and chocolates. Then everyone sits up all night reading their new book and eating the chocolate. Not a bad way to make an ancient custom relevant for today. I will close with the wish that you find your version of new books and chocolates.
Thank you so much, Rovina. The name of the service today is The Three Wise Penguins, and that was taken from a story told in our adult religious education class by Barbara Dager. And I had invited Barbara to be with us today to share the story of the Three Wise Penguins, because I just loved it. And sadly, she is with Dusty at the hospital. It's a season where we need to hold a lot of our dear ones in our hearts. And she very graciously, in the midst of all she is going through, wrote down the story for me to share with you, and I would like to do that. One tradition my family always observed during the Christmas season was to set up a manger or nativity scene. It was only when I moved to Louisiana that I was informed it was called a creche. As a child, my family would read the Christmas story from Luke and place the figures of Mary, Joseph, the baby Jesus, along with a sheep, a donkey, angels, wise men complete with camels, etc. On Christmas Day, we would light a candle and sing Happy Birthday to the baby Jesus. When I became a mother, I wanted to replicate the same scenario, and I did for many years. But one year after a difficult divorce, my daughters and I had moved into a very modest rental house. Many boxes were stored in a shabby shed. I tried to find our seasonal decorations and started to put together the creche, but we were missing something. Although the prominent figures, Mary, Joseph, and Jesus, were all present and accounted for, along with all of the required animals, the three wise men were missing in action. My younger daughter, scanning the remaining tree ornaments, said, "Mommy, we have 3 penguins. Would that work?" My first thought was how irreverent that would be to put up 3 festive penguins dressed up like carolers burying wrapped gifts in the manger scene. But it had been a very difficult year for all of us, and her suggestion made me smile. I didn't think baby Jesus would mind. The penguins fit perfectly into the manger scene and brought joy to us that year and every year after that. We never did find those 3 wise men. We didn't need to. For the rest of our Christmases together, we will celebrate by recreating our manger scene with the three wise penguins. And next, after a brief musical break, we'll hear from Bethany Sarkey on Hanukkah traditions.
That was brief. Is it my turn now?
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. It's lovely to be visiting and worshiping with you today. My family just finished our annual celebration of Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights. The holiday celebrates the successful resistance of the Jewish people against Syrian Greek suppression of their religious and cultural practices. When the Jews rededicated the temple in Jerusalem after the occupation, the story goes that there was only enough sacred oil to burn in the menorah for one night, but it miraculously burned for 8. These days, we use a special Hanukkah menorah called a Hanukkiah and mostly use candles, not oil. We start with one Hanukkah candle and a special shamash or helper candle and add one each night. By the last night, the Hanukkiah is ablaze with light, and we've used 44 candles. Let me see if I can move my camera without knocking anything down and show you one of our Hanukkiyot. This is the shamash candle and then the 8 branches of the Hanukkah menorah. We don't forget about oil, though, and we eat foods cooked in oil. Especially potato latkes and sufganiyot, which is a kind of jelly donut. And we give gifts each night. And each year, I have a special tradition that we started here in Shreveport. We make a donation in each family member's name to the backpack program that is promoted by our beloved Red River Radio and that Susan and our own Rabbi Jana promote every year. And that's a thing that we really like to do. And this year we made our last night's Hanukkah menorah, our Hanukkiah, out of graham crackers and chocolate and marshmallows. And we called it this menorah. And we had a really good time setting the whole thing on fire and trying to control the ensuing blaze and then eating the results. Let's see, I want to also show you we have an ornament in the shape of the Hanukkah dreidel, and that's a spinning top game that's traditionally played. And we use this Hanukkah geld, which maybe you can see here, these foil covered chocolate coins to play the game. Celebrations like Hanukkah and gatherings like this help me make it through the dark days of winter. So thank you.
Thank you, Bethany. And we at All Souls are pretty familiar with dreidel. Our kids have some pretty spirited dreidel games at our annual holiday party when we are together. And so I have really missed that this year. I have missed being together with the kids and the adults. Everybody kind of gets into it. And before we go on to the Russell Peck family, I wanted to, speaking of donations, first I wanted to thank everyone who did give to the backpack drive. That was wonderful. And also, speaking of donations, we forgot to mention this morning, our Giveaway the Plate is still going to be the Northwest Louisiana Food Bank. We are sticking with food-based charities, and so we ask that you give directly to them. And I believe, I know Steve has apparently had some technical issues this morning, but he will hopefully be putting that link in the chat for you so that you'll know. But you can also Google it. They're very easy to find, and they do a lot of good. They make your money go a long, long way. So even if you have just a little to donate, it will help a lot. And with that, I will turn it over to Jennifer Russell, who will talk about their Christmas traditions.
Good morning. Our family celebrates a pretty traditional Christmas-oriented holiday. Um, since our children have arrived in our home, every December 1st, we have a scout elf from the North Pole who joins us and creates mischief around our house. And when he or she shows up, he or she brings Christmas jammies for the kids, and sometimes other little gifts. And they stay with us until Christmas Eve, when Santa takes them back to the North Pole until the next year. One of our favorite holiday traditions over the last few years has also been the All Souls Christmas Eve service. We attend that as a family, and then afterwards, it's been our tradition to take some of the baked goods to the service members on Barksdale Air Force Base, where we live, who are working the gate on Christmas Eve. One of my favorite traditions from when I was a child was my grandmother reciting from memory 'Twas the Night Before Christmas on Christmas Eve. She did that until her last Christmas with us, had it memorized and could say it from memory, even into her 80s. And it's something that she did with her own children, with myself and her other grandchildren, and then with her great-grandchildren. And it's something that I don't have it memorized, but I do read it to my children each Christmas Eve now. And those are some of our favorites. Sorry.
Thank you. And after another brief musical interlude, we will hear from Amanda Lawrence and her family.
Good morning. My name is Amanda Lawrence. It is my I was literally reading along in the order of service where it says musical transition, and yet I just started talking. You know, it's not like I haven't done this before. Listen, this is the best I've got for y'all. We have this here for you. My name is Amanda Lawrence. My husband John Allen is nearby. We have a truly wonderful, chaotic, blended family. Some of whom are on their way to us as we speak to celebrate today. So we're excited to tell you a bit about some of our old and new family traditions. My family was big on Christmas growing up. Both sets of my grandparents lived in town, and we always went to Christmas Eve church. Then we went to my dad's parents' house for a big dinner and stockings and presents and whatnot. We'd wake up just the four of us Christmas morning in my house and have our celebration. And then we go to my mom's parents' house for brunch and more celebrating then. When we were really small, my parents used a baby gate to keep us in our part of the house until they were ready for us to invade. And they kept that tradition going long after we were tall enough to just step over the gate. As my sister and I went to college and got married and went out into the world, our traditions obviously had to be sort of flexible. But as we gave some of them up, we also got new ones. My parents got an artificial tree, and years when we were there for Thanksgiving, we'd help decorate the tree and the house while we were in town. And then there's the pickle. I don't know where my mother got this idea. I think it's either some German tradition or just an insane thing she made up. But every year at some unknown point, she hides a pickle-shaped ornament on the Christmas tree. You never know when it might appear, but the first person to find it gets the pickle prize, which is usually a gift certificate. But mostly that person gets pickle glory for the entire year. There are now multiple ornaments for multiple ages of searchers. We form alliances based on birth order, and the winner does the ceremonial pickle dance for the official Facebook photo. And I really love how our family's traditions have changed with time.
Yeah, and I don't know, my family's traditions were, pretty standard. I will tell you the whole elf on the shelf thing. We were doing that, yeah, somebody monetized that. My family was doing that 35, 40 years ago. There were these little knitted things that my mother either found or whatever, and they would come and they would watch us, and it was Gestapo-esque. And they would threaten us with them because they're like, listen, they're watching. And so you better be good. And that continued long after we, knew that there was no way this was happening. It was traditional. They would move around the house. You weren't allowed to touch them. If you touch them, they turn into dolls, which, were good. And we always had a big gathering on Christmas Eve. We'd have friends come in. It was really good. We always had a party on Christmas Eve. And I was thinking about, what we passed on to our kids. Because here's the thing, as Amanda said, we have this giant blended family. And all the traditions that we just talked about, almost none of them have been transmitted to our children, because the weirdest thing I was saying earlier is trying to talk about our family's Christmas traditions without Max Life Tamala here, because a lot of our Christmas tradition at this point is improvise, adapt, overcome, because we've got kids spread across multiple households. And there have been multiple times that we have hosted Tamala here. She has hosted us multiple times at her house. And, the doll thing with the Elf on the Shelf thing, I wasn't able to continue with my children because they were in multiple households. How do you maintain a mythology like that of elves that don't move? It falls apart. It's paper thin with its whole justification. But we're still able to make the holidays, special. And the reason is because we have not been tied to making sure that we have to have this, and this. What we have to have is Christmas together. And that's mainly what we did.
Yeah, I was thinking about what traditions Eleanor and Andrew and I have had. And I think the biggest tradition we've had is not having traditions. Most years we get a live tree and decorate it, but not always. Many years we're at the candlelight service at All Souls, but not always. Some years we take snacks to emergency workers on Christmas Eve, but not always. I read a thing on Facebook a few years ago that traditions are just peer pressure from dead people. And I think that's talking about bad traditions, right? Like things that are hurtful to people. This is not like elves and Christmas stories and pickles. But I do think there's something to the fact that I hope we've given our children the space to make their own traditions and the certainty that while they are welcomed and wanted, they are not required to be here with us for the holidays.
Good morning. For today's meditation, let yourself find a comfortable position, your body balanced, spine straight. Begin with a deep and comfortable breath, shifting your attention to your heart space, and imagine breathing in and out of your heart. Allow your breath to deepen and slow. Allow your breath to be soft and kind. Today, as you enter the sacred space of mindful presence, reflect. In these times of challenge and change, I feel called upon to give so much. And I often feel I have so little to offer. And yet, as I listen more deeply in the quiet presence of my heart, I hear a call not so much for great action, but for the gift of simple meaning. The unique dreams and memories of myself, my family, and my friends matter. The twists and turns of my journey, the ups and downs of my living, the stories that I cherish can be gifts of strength and healing for my beloved community. A caring touch remembered, a helping hand that lightened a burden, a moment that opened into wonder, a tradition that honors all who came before, a moment of laughter that brought ease, a surprising way to celebrate the moment, a gift received that deepened the meaning of what giving is. These simple strands of my living experience I now bring to my beloved community, that they may weave together with those of others to form a tapestry of great beauty. These are the stories that hold us together, that give us wisdom in times of uncertainty, that bring us light in the midst of darkness. The stories that celebrate our oneness in the greater family of life. In these few moments of silent presence, I center in my breath. Breathing in, I cherish the memories that bring me joy and peace. Breathing out, I share these gifts with beloved community.
And we'll now hear from Kathy Osuch about a pretty delightful Christmas tradition. Or I wonder if we have lost her. No. Kathy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay, there you are. Now we can hear you.
Okay. A family tradition, Osuch family tradition, is to play a card game, essentially called 31, but it's essentially blackjack, only with 3 cards. And we would play it at every family gathering, but Christmas was the biggie because we lived in Southern California. So every relative who possibly could wanted to come to California for Christmas. So we usually have lots of extended family. And the nice thing was that you only needed to be able to add up to 31 to play. So pretty much everybody could play. And I've been playing this game since I was probably in 1st grade. So that's 67 years. And it was a tradition even before, because I can remember being really delighted to be old enough and smart enough to play it. And, it was a lot of, it took a long time to lose your money because there was a lot of people playing. And so there was a lot of visiting and socializing and just everybody together at the table having a good time. And so it's a really fun memory. And until my mother died in 2013, we would often have 4 generations of family playing. So it's a real special memory of with family, cousins, aunts and uncles when I was younger, and just family being together, having a good time and visiting.
Thank you, Kathy. And now we'll hear from Juan Villarreal on his childhood Christmases in Cuba.
Hi, everyone. As probably some of you know, I was born in Cuba, and we immigrated to the US in the 50s. I don't have any good stories about escaping from Cuba because it was rather a pedestrian move. My father worked for an American company, and he was transferred over here. And we didn't suffer at all, we just came over. But in a way we did suffer because we were separated from the family. Soon after we came over, Cuba was taken over with a anti-US government. And so we were really separated from our family. I remember that I have to be sure that I let you know that memory is probably amended every time you access it. So this is a story of me and not the story of every Cuban that's ever come. Our family, we were sort of like secular Catholics. And I went to church because I went to Catholic school. And if you didn't go to church, you had to meet the priest on Monday. And it was not a very nice thing that he would tell you. So he would come to mass and count heads. But my parents, my family was not very, they were religious, but in their own way. When we came to the US, we were used to having a big extended family. And Christmas was celebrated on Christmas Eve. I don't remember anything happening on Christmas Day. Christmas Eve, people would come over to my grandparents, who were well off, and they would have a big party. People would come from other provinces. So I figured maybe now there were to me, there were like 1,000 people, but of course it wasn't. That's the view of a child looking at a whole bunch of people in the house and having a big party. But I'm sure there were at least 50 people there. It was not a commercial Christmas because only children got presents. That's if your parents have money. And there was no exchange of presents with adults. That was totally a surprise for us when we moved to the US and the neighbors came over with stuff for our family, for all the members of the family. And we didn't know that. We only thought that kids would get presents. And I didn't know who Santa Claus was, or as we used to say, Santa Claus. I remember the first time one of my aunts came to me and said, we're going to give you a present on the 25th because Santa Claus is going to bring it to you. I had no idea who this guy was. And because our day of presents was Epiphany, and they were brought by the three magi. And that was the big day for me, waiting for the 6th of January. When we moved here, we went from a rather big extended family to a family of 4. And my mother tried at first to renew the Christmas as we knew them on Christmas Eve. There was no turkey or anything like that. The food, it would take me the whole hour to tell you about how different the food was. But the centerpiece was a pork. And my memories were of the pig arriving alive and then turning into pork. And and we couldn't, and I knew it was happening because my family would lock me up in a room while the pig was being dealt with in the backyard. And then later I would come on, and of course, as I got a little older, when I was 5 or 6, I would try to sneak a look because I knew something very bad was going to happen to that pig. And it was exciting to find out what it was. Later on, we moved to, my mother tried as hard as she could. We couldn't find the right food because we didn't eat turkey or mashed potatoes or any of those dishes that we later learned to love in the US. So little by little, you had to adapt to that. Don't let anybody kid you. All immigrants have to adapt. And didn't see too many Christmas trees. The center of that was their nativity scenes, and the rich people put on big nativity scenes, and we would go visit the nativity scene. It was very wonderful because it looked like a little thing made for kids. And of course, baby Jesus didn't arrive till the 24th, and we would wait for that. And basically, we would. I remember the first time I remember of Christmas was a 6th of January when my mother was. I had a play garage, a little garage with cars. And I remember my mother putting my socks on. And I know that I was sitting and I was shaking because it was so cold. And Cuba's pretty far north, more north than other countries in Latin America. So the temperature was at least in the 50s, maybe the upper 50s. But to us, that was like North Pole. So we tried to later on to put on a similar feast in that we would invite the whole family. But then as people begin to leave us, that left, and when my mother left, everything left. And we just have, my sister and I have a little Christmas Eve celebrations, and not even that anymore because just about everybody's scattered now. All the kids grew up. And so I remember Christmas with sadness because I don't have that. And I'm not even sure it was exactly like I remember because of the changing. That was, you know, in another country 65 years ago. So that's about it. Today we have a regular overeating Christmas.
Thank you, Juan. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Memory is amended each time you access it. That's something I need to remember, and I hope I don't amend it too much because that's wonderful. I love that. For our closing hymn, it's a song. It's a solstice song actually, and we don't have enough of those. And this is called "Moonlight Whispers" by Wendy Bartell, and it's her video. We may extinguish our chalice, but burning within us remains the flame of truth, the light of knowledge, the warmth of community, the energy of action, and the power of story. May we carry it forth into the world with hope and courage for this season and beyond. And there is a beyond. There is a beyond. As we close today, I offer you two great healing balms of humor and music. In this arrangement of Sleigh Ride, for 7 flutes, an alto flute, a piccolo, a belt, a bag of microwavable rice, and 2 spatulas. I love it. Stay safe, go in peace, blessed be, Ashe, and Amen. Enjoy.
Yeah.